heart, where we find stillness from the outer world, all the turmoils and chaos that are not part of us, unless we so choose. So coming into the quiet, central warmth and stillness of a grateful heart. So let us remember before God the great need of all humankind, that we may pray to God. We make quiet the fretful mind of every day. Let us open our hearts to the Father, Mother, God, and to Christ the Son, to the Holy Trinity of wisdom, love, and power. In the holy name of Christ, by the Christ light in the hearts of all people, we call upon the great angels of Christ. We feel their presence and their power. We attune ourselves to the prayers of all men and women of good will. And being thus prepared and ready before God, with all the will of our minds, with all the love of our deepest hearts, we send forth the light. We send it forth as a great star of light, a blazing star, withstanding, overcoming all evil, triumphant over darkness and death, a star of the Christ light. By all the power of Christ within our hearts, we send forth the light. And now we hold our beautiful planet in the healing light of the Christ star, as we hold within this healing ray the soil, the waters of the earth, the air, and all of nature, especially the human and the animal kingdoms. We hold in the heart of the star the soul of the Americas, the soul of all the people of the Americas, North, Central, and South America. May the light of the Christ star shine through the hearts and the minds of all the people of the Americas to bring healing to mankind and a deep reverence for all of life. And now let us hold anyone known to us personally who is in need of help or healing. Just see them in the radiance of this healing love, perfect, perfect, in the Christ radiance. And we thank thee, Lord, for your presence and the blessing of your healing grace upon these your family. Amen. Amen. Amen.
With that beautiful feeling, we come now to our healing circle. Time to link our hearts for greater healing for our world. Let us open our hearts to the Christ power, wisdom, and love as we call upon the angels of healing to draw close. We come into the soft radiance of this love as we focus, along with the angels of healing, the archangels, Archangel Zadkiel and Michael, over the entire world. And today, we hold the focus over the United States with his legion of angels for our upcoming week, for peace and unity and healing to prevail. we see the soul of all humanity bathed in this radiant light. The leaders and peoples of the Americas, we hold strongly in this light. With hearts full of love and gratitude, we give our grateful thanks. Amen. Good morning again, everyone. Jane has selected a beautiful reading on forgiveness. What does the world need today? It needs a reevaluation of life and an understanding of spiritual values. When we come down to the bedrock and give ourselves time for quiet meditation, for a turning of our thoughts inwards instead of outwards, we find truth. We find God. As Jesus told his disciples, "Feed my lambs, feed my lambs." Help people to love each other, love one another, and try to do this, and you will grow in understanding. You will not find in any scientific book or in any religious book the knowledge, the wisdom that you will find from reading your own book of life. Forgive them their trespasses. O Father, forgive, for they do not understand. Apply that always in your life. Forgive, they do not understand. We must learn to say that. When understanding comes, there's all love, and you see what you're doing on earth plane. You may be working in a little backwater area as far as the rest of the world is concerned. You are not in the noise and bustle, but you are sending into the wider world unmistakably and ever increasingly the great light of love. All brothers of the mystery schools, all down the ages, had at heart the same truth, the same eternal truth. Love each other. Protect the weak. Yes, you must protect the weak by the light from your heart, by being true to that love. We have said before that to keep up a feud or a quarrel, no matter whether within one's family or in the larger family, in the outside world, or between nations, can only end in one way: destruction. And this is the vital lesson which the world today must learn. We know the many arguments that will leap to your mind. Well, how impossible is it, for instance, for one nation to forgive another, or even for one individual to feel forgiveness who has a righteousness claim against another? However, it is a cosmic law which no soul, no country can escape. There must be forgiveness, because without it, no soul can be redeemed. Without forgiveness, the errors of the individual cannot be washed away. But when the person or nation will drink the cup, accept, admit the fault, then the individuals or nations will be released from the karma that binds them. It is so easy to judge the actions of others, but do refrain from judgment, for as you condemn others, so you condemn yourself. Strive to be tolerant, to give from your heart the gentle spirit of the Master Soul. Jesus the Christ is one such Master Soul, man made perfect, and this highly evolved, perfected soul incarnated in order to reveal to individual men and women what they could attain if they followed the simple, gentle way of Christ. Forgive, my children, forgive. Whatever is in your heart, however hard you may feel towards any soul, possibly with justification, according to material standards, pray to forgive as he taught, in simple prayer. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And in forgiving others, you are releasing yourselves. And as soon as you feel forgiveness in your own heart, you can release yourself from your karma. As long as you sit in harsh judgment over your fellows, whether individual people or nations, so long as you continue to condemn, you bring about condemnation and judgment upon yourself, for this is ruled by spiritual law. The Christ light is the forgiving heart, and it releases the bolt which bars the heart. Beloved brethren, hold fast to this thought, which is true, which is real, which is Christ himself, and nothing will go wrong. Amen.
Everyone, I have never spoken from this mic. It's very disconcerting to be over on the right instead of on the left. So we'll see what happens. As Denise mentioned in the healing circle, we're coming up to a full lunar eclipse on the 8th of November, which is, of course, as we know, election day. So everything whirling about is going to be whirling about unless we do our bit, or not unless. When we do our bit, perhaps it will transmute some of the unforgiveness, because that's what it's really all about. Unforgiveness of somebody else's opinions. And our opinions usually are from our own physical selves. The heart will always give forth loving forgiveness if we can get ourselves in there. So special thoughts each morning, perhaps, for the next few days, next couple of days, and especially over the time of the election. Let's hold the light for what this country stands for, which is freedom. So don't let us try and block the freedom that others cherish. So, what is forgiveness? I looked it up in the dictionary. Psychologists define forgiveness as a deliberate, conscious decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards someone who we have perceived has harmed us. Forgiveness covers a very wide spectrum and bubbles under the surface of most ordinary things. For within forgiveness lies our judgment of how we think things should be, not the way they are. It can be as absurd as someone forgetting to put the cap on a tube of toothpaste, to our view of leaders and nations and governments. All can settle themselves as huge, solid blocks of annoyance and judgment, which we hold unwittingly in our minds and in our hearts. Through unforgiveness and our lack of understanding, we actually place a block in our spiritual journey. It's interesting, that word forgiveness. It often sounds to so many that if we forgive, we have to back down in some way or lose something in the process. You know, the only barrier to forgiveness is that little self that just doesn't want to forgive. There's a myriad of reasons why, and if we dissect all those reasons, they all return to the small self who feels he or she will lose something by forgiving. We can all be quite brilliant in our attitude of self-righteousness and inability to surrender our little self and just forgive. Or as we might say, just get on with it. To forgive, we open a wide space inside us, there to fill and add to the love that is already there. One of our meditation points down at the bottom of Temple Hill, I don't know whether you've seen it, it's one of my favorites, and it speaks of forgiveness, and what it says is, that's a White Eagle quote, "We shall do well to remember how much we ourselves need forgiveness, and to learn to forgive freely, judging no one. Another soul is quite unknown to us, but it is our duty and our surpassing joy to search ever for the spark of the divine in all. And if we think of that spark of the divine within all, we don't get too hung up on things that have perhaps left us in a disquieting fashion. So, what is to be done, especially when a soul feels especially burdened by life's cruelties and apparent injustices? I know I've spoken about this before, so forgive me. Could we look at that wonderful scenario which has been presented to us by many teachers, and to quote Shakespeare, all the world's a stage, and all men and women are merely players. So imagine that we're all in a theatre watching an amazing play full of drama, joy, sorrow, laughter, vengeance, betrayal, etc., etc. We listen to the lines that are spoken and we watch the plot unfold. But never for a moment do we consider standing up in the audience and saying, "Oh, she shouldn't say that. That's not part of it." We're simply watching a play unfolding before our eyes. And so it is with our life. And the only responsibility we have is how we play our part. Everybody else's part is theirs. Let them get on with it. Could we for a moment become aware that you and I are all actors on this amazing stage of life, and speaking the lines, acting and reacting, all in the process of learning, growing, absorbing a finer and better way of becoming perhaps the consummate actor or master of life? The sooner we're able to grasp the fact that nothing actually is out of order, the universe is simply asking us to grow through this wonderful school of earth and the unfolding play in which we all have a part. A whole world of possibility unfolds once we forgive through simple understanding of the origin and purpose of the circumstances in which we find ourselves. We've all drawn them to ourselves. How can we best learn before we come into incarnation? What are going to be the things that I need to learn? So we draw those into our life and watch and pray. So instead of holding resentments, which are really re-sentiments, resending them to ourselves, remaining there inside us to chew over, regurgitate, and eventually make us sick, we rise right above it all because we understand how to forgive those who trespass against us, finding that divine spark in every single one. To further our understanding, we've all come into life with specific goals, aims, lessons, which I said that we've chosen to grow. We're all drawn through karmic links to those closest to us, our families, our friends, spouses, children, others whom we have chosen to learn. So we're all really in a group drama of karma, learning process, sowing and reaping each day. We're all together in this great play of life. So imagine that one of our family's group's mission is to help us learn about forgiveness. Naturally, they will supply us with lots of ammunition in order to exercise our ability to forgive. Yes, there'll be betrayals, harsh words, arguments, all piling up, ready for us to respond. Now, if we can just remember when this is happening, that we've done 90% of the work, if we remember why this is coming to us. And our hurt and anger can then just simply be transmuted, and understanding eventually comes. As suggested in that little remarkable book, The 4 Agreements, take nothing personally. How much grief could be alleviated in life if this message was truly understood? Take nothing personally. It's all a process of learning. There's a lovely Chinese proverb that I've always been very fond of. Carry a green branch of forgiveness in your heart, and a singing bird will come. Yes, the heart will sing once we've released all those trials and troubles and lack of forgiveness. And the other one, which many of you know, forgiveness is the fragrance of the violet, which clings to the heel which crushed it. So often, forgiveness is part of surrender, isn't it? Just letting it go. And there's a sweetness that will flow from us as we release. Through this magnificent act of selflessness, understanding, and greatness of heart, we are prepared for a far greater work than in the world, far beyond the confines of the little self. And even more importantly, when we cross over into life beyond physical death, we have far less baggage to drag behind us into the real life. Our process of forgiveness lies within every cell. Peeling back the layers can be very painful. Surrender to it. Allow the tears to flow if this is what comes. It's something very beautiful when the soul allows itself recognition of all that it holds within. In White Eagle's words, for the Christ light is the forgiving heart, and it releases the bolt which bars the heart. Complete release when we allow it. One of the things in our little retreat we were talking about is how all of our life we're really held within the confines of our mind's thought and what it has created for it. We create our own little world, and we're all in our little world. And as we grow and forgive, we realize that the world actually expands to everyone, and we understand about love one another, because we do. We just see the light that's shining in every soul. Yes, even in the political arena, we hold the light of forgiveness. So let us come to that point of forgiveness which lies in the heart, that simple, quiet space. As White Eagle has so often said, the average humankind is kind. The average humanity holds a kindness and a sweetness in their heart. So let's open to that inflow of light, of love, of kindness, of simple acceptance of where each one of us is in our life's journey. All in different places, but all going home, all going to the same place. So let us visualize in the heart of our temple here, heart of our little gathering, the light of the Christos, the sweetness of the Lord Christ, who brings that humility, that simplicity of light to every human heart. Let us open to the light of the sun, to the warmth and blessing, the one who forgave in his earthly incarnation. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Let us forgive, forget, and love in the deepest sense. Let's feel the radiance and absorb it through the symbols of the bread which we eat to bring the strength of wine, the wine of spirit. As he draws the cup, the grail cup, the heart essence from which we drink. And so we give thanks to our God, both Father, Mother, the light of the sun. May we go forward this day, released of all that which binds and holds us, forward into the light, the light of understanding, the great peace. In the name of the Father, Mother, and Christ the Son. Amen. Amen. Amen.